Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages, he is back in the Aussieverse. This is his second appearance here, and we are blessed that he has decided to spend his time with us today. Who is that? That is the man underneath me right now, Mr. SK. How you going, brother?
I'm good. I think I'm a bit frozen, but can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. I see you.
It's back again. Everything's back again. Look, thanks for having me on. Look, I'm actually really excited today because I really wanted to share. It sounds like there's things about the Australian Comic Kickstarter Awards.
Yeah, man, we want to hear all about it because I didn't know anything about them. Before we do, I just want to give a shout out to our four lifers here. That is Azrael85, the fourth monkey, Ali, our new member, Ben Sullivan, and Simple Simon. Thank you very much for contributing to the Aussieverse love. And if you want to support Aussieverse, just remember this is not something you need to do. Just subscribe to Aussieverse. And we are humbly sponsored by Comic Bookaroo. That is enough of the plug, and let's get down to some loving. SK, please tell us all about the Australian Comic Kickstarter Awards.
Look, there is actually a link I just shared, the Facebook link, if you can bring that one up, because I want to show you the person I actually worked with to get this all started a long time ago.
Alrighty, let's go to it right now.
So the last one, the Facebook post.
Yep. Okay. Let's see here. We've got to go to... I was already getting ready to share another screen, so we'll go to
That's cool. That's cool.
This one?
You'll see the pretty lady. There you go.
Yep.
So about 4 years ago, Kickstarter has some person called the Comics Outreach, the head of Comics Outreach. So Kickstarter, you don't see that much of it in Australia, which I've been begging them to come over, but you see them in a lot of American conventions. So Kickstarter basically attends almost every single American comic convention, saying, hey, look, this is a really good platform to bring ideas and things to life. And there isn't really anything like that in Australia. So Kickstarter doesn't really come out here too much. And again, I've been begging them, and I'm hoping to rectify that hopefully the next couple of years. But one of the things that's been really cool is with Comics Outreach, one of the things that people don't really get about Kickstarter is it's actually a really big community of different people. They're actually, the Kickstarter people are really accessible. And so when I was talking to Oriana, this about 5 years ago, we were bouncing ideas of what can we do for the Australian comic community in a way that it gives a little bit of exposure, a little bit of, and the other thing is, one of the really good things is, in terms of awards, it's very aspirational, because it's one of those things that you go, you know what, that could be me next year. That could be, I could do that next year, and I want in. It gives that, hey, why not me? And that's something that we want to do. So the awards are actually something that's really cool in that respect. So the one thing we want about the awards are, and awards can be, especially award selections, can be a little bit controversial. And that's where we all know it. Like Oscar winners, it gets, oh, he should have won this year. No, it was, and so, it can be really controversial. And there are also lots of times where we just wanted it nice and easy. So the way I pitched it when we have an initial discussion, let's make it all maths. No arguments, maths. Maths is perfect for me. So the one thing we want to do then is, in the Australian community, there is about 50 to 60 Kickstarters run every year, give or take. So The one thing we want to do is say, hey, look, let's make the math easy. The top 3 most funded projects, the top 3 most backed projects, and there's a difference. There are certain comic projects that are actually geared towards higher back account and lower amount earned. So hypothetically, and there's a guy called Ryan Lindsay. I don't know if you guys know him. He's an Australian comic creator. He promotes digital. When he does Kickstarters, he really promotes digital. Digital is his go-to platform. So, but digital in terms of it is a much lower spend in terms of comics. You don't have to print it. So he gets a lot higher amount of backers, but tends to earn a lot less in terms of compared to some of the other bigger projects, which is absolutely fine. But we don't want to disadvantage campaigns which have that type of strategy, and we also don't want to disadvantage campaigns where you're trying to make a huge omnibus. I know Bo's now interested. Make a huge omnibus. Those things cost a lot more, and they might be promoting to a much smaller audience. But guess what? They might earn more money. So we want to make sure that both strategies in terms of Kickstarters were both rewarded. And so we decided top three most backed, and the top three most funded projects were recognized.
Okay.
We also want to do is we wanted to again make it aspirational and make people want to have a goal basically. So we have something called the Top Newcomer Award. So if a person who has not created any other Kickstarters before, and the cool thing about this is it's on that person's account. So the one thing could be is like a particular artist could have worked on 20 different projects. We don't care as long as this is their first project that they've ever done by themselves. That's the new company. And they were the top of all the new people who have for that year will also get recognized. So, that's it. It's in terms of how it's selected, we make it really, really fair. It's just all maths. So that way,
Okay.
um, in terms of selection, we don't have any Oscar controversies. We don't have this person should never have been selected. Guess what? If your campaign does well, you're in. If your campaign, but it also sets the stages. Hey, look, what can I do to build my campaign? And the other thing that's also really cool is, and this is what I've always encouraged other creators to do. When people say, how do I make my campaign look good? Look at other people's campaign. Look at what you like about it. Look about if the copy what you like, improve what you hate. And guess what? Your page is going to look better. Hey, Sharif.
Fair enough.
What was the conversation like when you were coming up with these categories? Because obviously, if you're doing it for the first time, you're gonna be clear on what kind of awards you wanna give out. What
Yep.
So what was the conversation like in finalizing the categories
Yeah.
that was finally set?
Again, because we just want to do numbers, absolutely just numbers. So we didn't want a case of, oh, this guy's a better writer, this is a better artist. We did want to make sure none of that. So that's why it's just the most backed, how many backers a project has, and how much money that project raised. The top three of each category, you're in. One of the reasons, and just talking really frankly out here, is we didn't want a judging system. Um, I have actually talked to, and I won't mention names yet because I know they're still working in the background on this, and I think you guys actually might know about this. There is another person trying to start their own awards thing, and they want to do it very much Academy style, which is basically you pick like the Academy Awards, 300 Academy members, you pick. That can get very messy, and that can also make it, hey, look, and then it makes it that it's a voting. Could it be a more popularity contest? Like there are flaws inherent in any type of awards. There just is. That's the reason why we promoted it as numbers, so that, hey, guess what? You had 500 backers this year. That was the highest number of backers for all comic projects for this year. You win the top award. It's that simple. And it removes all the pain points. It removes oh, this guy didn't like me, voted this way, or this guy, they didn't view my work this way. It's nothing like that. It's just pure numbers, which I absolutely love. I'm a math guy.
So what's this thing going across our screen right now? What's that link?
Pop it up. Let's take a look. So I'm happy to give you a bit of history behind it. So it's been running now for 4 years. And if you pop that thing up, I'll show you basically who's won, and I'll give you a bit of history behind all of them. And you can actually see a lot of the creators whose name has popped up here. So let's scroll right down to the bottom, and we'll work our way up because so we started back in not all with Hydra. There's a lot of blank space because let's go back to the image. That's one of that's the Wordsmith that won before. So let's start with 2020, 2021. So if you go up a bit more, and yeah, about there, that can stop there. So the first time the big award was won was actually by Inferno Girl Red. I don't know if you know who that is. That's actually run by a guy called Matt. He's a Sydney guy. And Inferno Girl Red, just a bit of history, has been picked up by Image Comics. I don't know if you guys know that. And the artist is, her name is Erica De Urso. If I butchered your name, I'm really sorry. That's how I remember it. She's absolutely fantastic. And that campaign, and they got the most backed and most funded. That actually won raised more than $100,000, and have, I think, just over 1,500 backers, if I remember right. So that was a huge, huge campaign, and well deserved. They absolutely deserve to win. Other ones which are probably of note was I had to feel really sorry. If you go back to 2020, 2021. Darren Close's Killer Room got an honorable mention because it actually was the fourth most backed and had the fourth most number of backers and raised the fourth most amount. And Darren basically just missed out. And it was like, you know what? We'll call him out, say, hey, look, you didn't make the tops, but guess what? It's still such a good looking project and all the rest of it. That's absolutely fantastic. The next one, which I actually want to talk about that year, which actually is really interesting, is Awaken, which is the best newcomer. So for a first-time project, that one actually earned just over $17,000. That's Will Fisk and Oliver Brown. And the other thing would be a lot of people who win these awards actually go on to bigger, better things. They actually also got they actually made Match Lab. I don't know if you guys know what Match Lab is, but it's a creative grant program, which basically says whatever. It's a creative grant program which focuses on funding. Which what it means is how the grant works is if you get the grant, for every dollar you earned towards your project, the Match Lab will also give you an extra dollar. So if your campaign earned $8,000, guess what? Match Lab will also give you $8,000. The other great thing about Match Lab is as well, and I'm a big advocate of Match Lab, just to put thing. I was actually part of the first Match Lab program. Just give you a heads up. I was accepted the first Match Lab program. I've been brought back as a guest a few times, and I'm a huge, huge advocate. Any Australian creators, if you're thinking of crowdfunding, please try out for Match Lab every year. It comes in every year, and I know a lot of great Australian creators have gone on to be part of that program. And so the two things they give you is they give you a matched crowdfunding. So whatever Kickstarter earns, Match Lab will match it. The other thing that's also really cool, what they do is, for me anyway, they flew me down to Melbourne for 2 days. So all expenses paid. I got to listen to them on how to raise money. And we actually listened to a lot of what they call professional arts, people who raise money. It's like we're talking like people do this professionally. Like for example, the Australian Ballet, there is a person who actually helps raise money for the Australian Ballet. That's their full-time job. And they will explain to you a lot of how to do it, how to do the ask. It's a really, really good program. So highly, I think. And so these two first-time creators, that was their first crowdfunding experience. They then went on leveraging this to get accepted to Match Lab, and they got their next project basically, dollar for dollar matched, and they had a good time in Melbourne as well. So it's not bad. Let's go to 2021, 2022, if you like. So they just to highlight a couple of things. So there's the buys there, which is basically Anthony Christou. So he's a guy from South Australia. I like to say this, and he might disagree with me, but when he did that campaign, when he actually got to be the third most funded, guess what? Next year, he got accepted to Match Lab. So they do take this. There is some credence in these type of awards to say, hey, look, these people are making campaigns. They're being recognized by Kickstarter, and it's something that has some recognition when you're going for a grant. And the other thing would be that's really, really cool. In the first year we did it was basically just a, hey, you've been recognized type award. But in 2020, from 2021 onwards, the good thing was we actually got a big sponsor, and Kickstarter also decided to sponsor it in. So we actually had a trophy design for the 2021-22 season, which is really awesome. So Kickstarter basically helps out with the trophies. Comic Book on Demand, which is a print up in New South Wales, also kicks in to help out. And all recipients basically get a $100 print voucher from Comic Books on Demand as well. So the whole year of awards, that's like more than $1,000 of prizes basically available every year as part of the awards. So you not just get a snazzy trophy, which there's pictures of it. If you look at the thumbnail, you see this picture of the snazzy trophy. You'll actually also get other awards. So if you scroll all the way down, there's a picture of the snazzy trophy if you want to take a quick look at it.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
So
I was going to say, who did this Bay-Z? Because it sounds familiar.
Anthony Christou from South Australia.
Ah, right. Yeah, we've had him on the show before.
Yep. Again, like you'll see some of the names here, and like some of the projects, and I'm just highlighting different projects through. Let's see.
Terra Olympus, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so that's from Comics to Movies. That's one of Sean and my projects. So
right, that's why
happy to say I'm part of that one. But the other thing would be is, so let's go up to the 2023, so the year above that. So what happened on the third year was Oriana, who was the comic outreach person for Kickstarter. What happened with her was she got promoted to become director of publishing within Kickstarter. So she got the step up. So because of all the support she's given us in 3 years in helping set this up, she handed the awards out virtually for the last 3 years. She's an absolute wonderful person. We actually decided that year that she gets a Hall of Fame award. So she's the first inductee to the Hall of Fame. Will there be future inductees? Yes, but at this point, there's none on the table, to be really fair. But she was the first one because of all the support she's given to help this come to life, basically. This award was actually, this year's award was actually really, really good. So if we jump to say this year's one, we actually had, I don't know if you know, Dead City Lullabies, which also won the Comics Art of Australia, previously known as Ledgers Award, also came in, ran a Kickstarter to also do well. So you can see projects which, I'll take the one step back in terms of, say, Kickstarter. And this is where some of the questions usually get asked. And so it's, do I have a clear answer on how this works? No, but I'll explain and you guys can jump in. What makes how do you make a project really successful in Kickstarter? Is it the audience you have, or is it the content of the Kickstarter? And my answer to that is, if you have both stars aligning, that's how you become ultra successful. Look, there are people who have a big audience, but without being too nasty, their project is underdeveloped. They're not quite there yet. They don't have completed pages, for example, and it's not where it brings the trust of people in, because most people like to see some completed pages, some kick-ass looking covers. That's what they want to see. And if yours is just too conceptual, sometimes it's hard for people to buy into it. The other thing extreme is you could be this introverted creator, don't talk to anybody, but have this amazing looking project. But it's always, if you're something that's so amazing but nobody hears about it, who's going to come back in? So, but what you do notice with a lot of these people who are in year out, who actually make it to these top of the actors every year, they have kind of both. You have a project which looks good, it looks completed. People aren't waiting around for a long time for it. It's not in the concept phase. It's usually towards the end of the project already. So usually they have a couple of letter pages, or it's near the end of it. And when they reach that stage, guess what? It's a really damn good opportunity to make a successful Kickstarter. You need a good audience and you need a good product. So you need
Yeah.
kind of both. One of the projects, and the good thing about the Yakas really is that how do you enter? You don't have to enter. It's automatically considered. So what happens is at the because the Kickstart the time frame of each year runs from 1st of July the year before to the 30th of June the current year. So you don't actually have to do anything to enter. What happens is Kickstarter sends me a notification around usually around August timeframe to say, hey, look, here the numbers are all in. Here are the winners. Make it happen. And
Yeah.
so it's really cool. So they send me the numbers and they basically say, these are the people who have won. Let's get this all planned out. And so
Yeah,
then
cool.
what we do is I make sure there's a time that's linked up with all the creators. We make sure there's a time that's actually linked up with the Kickstarter person. And the new Kickstarter person is a guy called Sam Cusack as well. Again, a really, really good guy. And he's taken over from Oriana's. So, yeah. And after all that, when it all comes through, we pick the awards, we send them out, and um, we basically want people to submit more projects. The one expansion point, which unfortunately, and I have reached out to quite a few people, is I would like this to move from an Australian Comic Kickstarter Award to an Asia Pacific Kickstarter Award. I have issues with that though. Currently, is that the two countries which are the easiest for me to reach out to get this to happen. And actually, I have actually talked to a guy you just interviewed, a guy called Kan Jing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just talked to him. And actually, I've talked to him in the past before. One of the issues that we've had to include Singapore is there are usually less than 5 Kickstarters, comic Kickstarters run in Singapore every year. It's just not a representative size for we can pull through. Same thing with New Zealand. And New Zealand can go through like less than 5 every year. Sometimes, in a given year, there might be no comic Kickstarters run in each of these two countries, which makes it really difficult to say, hey, look, we can pull you in to be recognized as well when the volume of projects isn't there. And for example, like currently we have about 50, 60 Australian projects every year. If that was to double, guess what? Sponsorship would automatically double, I would imagine. We could then, instead of top 3, recognize maybe top 5. We could. It's a lot of great expansion ideas based on the volume of projects that are being run. So
Yeah.
I cannot encourage people enough. Hey, um, take a chance, reach out, get it started, and guess what? You would find. I'm talking more Australia than anything else. If there's something you don't know about Kickstarter, reach out. There's a million people who will explain it to you, and
Okay.
not just explain to you, but these are the functionalities and the features within the program. There's another group for example, I'm part of, which is basically whenever there's a change to the Kickstarter, with new features up, we're testing, we're saying, hey, this is good, this is bad. And one thing we actually do realize Kickstarter is they do listen to the feedback a lot, which what that means is if they listen to the feedback, they actually make changes really quickly. The platform has changed a lot. So, and I've brought this up with Kickstarter before. Previously, like we're talking, say 3-4 years ago, Kickstarter was very hesitant to make changes to the platform in terms of new features. It was really tested, really slow, and things weren't moving. This year, they've moved on to something which is much more agile. I don't know if you know much about agile programming, which
No.
is based. Okay, so traditional programming follows what they call the waterfall method, which basically starts design, code, test, unit test, system test. It's just a really slow process. You can imagine you're just going down the waterfall every step one by one. With web design and with new product methodology, there's something called agile, which is basically what they call minimum viable product, and add features in later. A lot of apps that you use in phone follow the agile methodology, which is, you know what, get the update out there. If it stuffs up, it stuffs up. Who cares? Get the next patch up. That's why on your phone, basically, you see all the different apps update constantly because it's very agile. And the good thing about agile programming is, guess what? You can keep throwing new features in. So what Kickstarter's been doing as well, which I absolutely love, is it seems like every month I go to check the platform, it's like, oh gosh, that's changed. That's changed. Oh gosh, you can do that now. A good example would be pre-launch pages for the longest time was just the banner. That's all you could see, the banner and 100 and something, 160 words. Now you can put in videos, you can do all this really cool stuff with it. The way surveys work for the longest time used to be based off what they call reward tiers. So every pledge level was a separate reward, separate survey, sorry. Now you send out one survey based on items, and it's all paradigm shifting. And it's fantastic. Absolutely love it. So back to the original point, though, is please, if you haven't started a project or you're thinking about starting a comic project, please do so, because what it does is it builds up this volume. And I'm a rising tide raises all ships type guy, which basically says the more people that come onto the platform to bring ideas to the platform, who bring their audience to the platform, it benefits everybody. It's one of those things where if there's, like I said, if there were 100 comic projects being run in Australia every year, it's better than.
So you're telling me to write a comic?
Yes. and the one you showed before, Gods Among Men, like I'm really happy for the Mac Brothers to do so. Like I want to see their next thing. Like they should.
So does this mean that Gods Among Men didn't make the cut for this year, but they'll be considered next year?
Every time they run a project, so they didn't make the cut for this year. So this year they were in the running for the Newcomer Award, but there was a person called Phil Denson. I think he raised about $12,000. Like I said, it's all maths. So as much as like the Mac Brothers, it's if they raise $13,000, for example, they would have got the Newcomer Award.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It was just purely maths. So
what if you're a newcomer that's hesitant to have a huge budget and you're just trying to make something that only would cost, let's say, $1,000? Does that mean that you're chopping yourself down?
The whole point about the awards is, like I said, it's aspirational. It's not something that if your project is, and there's people who do micro projects, like really small projects. If that's what you aspire to do, absolutely go for it. Like there's nothing stopping you from doing so. But what you always want in terms of awards is you want it to be I sold 40 million albums this year. You want those type of, I'm thinking book publishing. So you always have your Stephen Kings of the world. You know what I mean? The guys your John Grishams of the world. But if you look down the line, it's always aspirational. Like you need the aspirational things for people to look up to. So let's say Gods Among Men, and I think by the way, it's a great looking project. Ben Sullivan's an excellent artist. Like it's a good looking project. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now it's aspirational. Now it's, hey, look, this year you didn't get the Newcomer Award, which unfortunately is a once-off award. You know, you can't get 2 Newcomer Awards. But guess what? You have an audience you've built this year already. Kickstarter is actually interesting in the respect that book 2s tend to do better than book 1s. It goes against standard comic. Hey, people buy issue 1, they don't buy issue 2. Kickstarter is actually very different. And there is a good reason why it's different. It's if I don't know you and you put out an issue 1, do I trust you to deliver? Do I trust you to finish the damn thing? You know what? I'll give it. I really like the look of it, but I don't know you. I'm going to give it a miss. Normal human psychology. Oh gosh, you've got an issue 2 out now. So, and I'll check back to you issue 1 and go, I'm reading all these comments. Delivered, best ever. Oh my God, why aren't you reading this? If you then see it in issue 1, a lot of people who may have missed out on issue 1 will go, oh God, I missed out. I'm not going to miss out on issue 2. I'll jump in. And what the smart Kickstarter creators do is then by the way, if the Mac brothers are listening to this is just good generic advice.
Bundle.
Then they'll say, exactly. They'll start going, hey, I'm a first-time buyer of Gods Among Men. I will pick up issue 1 and issue 2. So what happens is when people start doing that, your funding amount doubles, because I'm not just buying one issue, I'm buying issue 1 and 2. So instead of raising, let's say the price point is $10 an issue, I'm now buying 2 issues at $10 each, $20. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sharif.
And would possible add-ons be calculated as part of it as well?
100%. It's
Oh,
whatever the entire campaign is worth. So add-ons, you lump everything in. So something like Gods Among Men, and I know we're talking about this project a lot. Sure, you didn't get the Newcomer Award this year, but don't think of it as, oh gosh, never gonna get it again. Guess what? Think about, hey, look, I know where I was. How do I get it for issue 2? The other thing I would always be is, and this is the way I've always pitched to people, is let's just say between your issues there's a year, and most indie creators span about a year between issues or a year between things, and it just is like most people have full-time jobs. They've got families, they've got a life. Everybody understands that, so it tends to be about a year, slightly less than a year between projects. So my challenge to a lot of these creators is, and if I ever talk to Aaron or whatever, I'm happy to say this to them, is you've got 365 days, let's just say. Can you every day reach out to one new person to say to them, hey, look, I'm going to, this is the project I'm working on. Would you take a look at it? So you think about it. Can you reach one new person every day? If you get 300 backers, you're gonna be one of the most definitely one of the most backed in already. I think Tara Olympus got 380 backers. It was in. So you think about it. So say Gods Among Men, if he had about, and I can't remember the number, I think it was just over 100 backers, if I remember right, Gods Among Men.
Don't remember.
All right, let's assume it's 100 backers. I'll make my math easy. I don't want to count too much. And every day he convinces one new person to like his project, to convince one new person to go, hey, this is cool. And he gets, another 300 backers. That's 400 for his issue 2.
Yeah.
And you can go, hey, that's how I grow an audience. And it promotes that. And then guess what? Then we recognize him. Then we go, man, you did so well from 1 to 2. Here's your recognition. And like I said, it's just a recognition. There's a small prize, a small trophy, but it doesn't take away anything from what you want to create. Now, if they do well, it's awesome. And I really, look, to be fair, I've said to all these people, I want to see your names up there. And like I said, it's nothing to get your name up there. I can tell you what to do. I can tell you the numbers you need to reach. You just have to basically look at the numbers beforehand to go, okay, the third most back, and you can check it yourself. You can go to Kickstarter's past projects. I need to get more than 200 backers in this campaign to make the list this year. How do I get to 200? Or how do I raise 10,000? And the thing is, it's up to you. But I wouldn't, the one thing I would caveat though is I wouldn't use the awards as your end goal, right? Your end goal should always be to write the best story that you can.
Yeah.
To write
100%.
the most awesome story. And this is the cherry on top. It's, hey, look, I've got this really awesome story. I want to strive to something. If I reach it, perfect. If I don't, it doesn't matter. I still got this awesome product, and I've come closer. That's amazing. I've come closer. And look, there's years that's been different. Like I think the first year, like I mentioned, like one project raised over $100,000. The next 4 years, there hasn't been anything that big. I think the first year, one project, 100,000, 30,000. After that, it's dropped off. And then 1 year was actually real. I think the last year, if you raise more than, I think, $8,000, you got, I think there's the guys from 3-4 Comics. This is Lucas Kine and Brian Kern, if you know those guys. They
Yeah.
they got in with a project that earned, I think, about $9,000. It's again, it depends on the year. So again, don't use it as a gold, don't use it as the be all end all. Oh gosh, I didn't get an award this year. My comic is horrible. It's not. It's probably still a really awesome comic. Use it as something aspirational. What to drive? I want to reach the next stage. How do I do it?
Okay. Well, let's just have a word from our sponsor, and then we'll have a look at the Facebook page. Right? What's Facebook?
Comic Bookaroo, proud sponsors of Aussieverse for all your comic book needs. Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, single issues. Don't forget to pre-order every Sunday at Comic Bookaroo.
And now we'll take a look at the Facebook group before we part ways. So here we go at the Australian Comic Kickstarter Awards, otherwise known as the ACCAs. What are we seeing here?
Can we stop the banner for 1 second? Can we stop the banner for 1 second? Just want to highlight all the amazing looking projects for the year. Starting from the left to right, first Future Tales by Phil Denson. The artist there is a guy called JC Grande. Fantastic artwork. If you guys don't know JC, he works for Image, IDW. Man, his credits list is amazing. And to be fair, I've used him once as well. Great guy, absolutely great guy. Second one is one that's near and dear to me. It's actually my own project. It's Transhuman. Artist there is a guy called Abri. Again, amazing guy. Colors by Wilson Go, who actually also did the colors for Gods Among Men. So next one across is Bracket Shards, Riccardo Ficini, and colors by Kevin Anthony DeCastro. And last one, Dead City Lullabies, also the Comic Arts winner, the Gold Award for Aidan Roberts. So this was this year's winner. So absolutely great projects there.
Fantastic.
So if we just scroll, I just want to show you. The other thing would be and I also make it a point. If you make it as part of the, if you ever win an ACCA, I will constantly promote your project. I make that as a promise. Anybody who's ever won, I will make sure to promote your project coming for the future. So you can kind of see here, that was this year's ceremony. If you don't scroll down a bit more, show some of the really cool, other cool posts. That was when we put up the thing. So this was, hey, it's coming this year. And it will be back again next year. Hook or by crook, it's coming. Will be back again next year. So we keep scrolling down.
And it's a full-on, and it's an actual show on YouTube as well.
Correct. So I host it with Sean. So he's my partner in crime for this one. I feel really bad. Look, Sean's been really instrumental in also getting this all started. So absolutely all credit to Sean. We host the comic books on Comics to Movies channel. Sean's amazing, and he's been also super supportive of making sure this all happens. So I feel bad if I didn't call him out as well. I called everybody else out, so I'll make sure I call Sean out as well. So, so for example, Fractured Shards won an award. We're happy to promote it as well. So for the Ringos, we promoted it as well. So if you keep scrolling down, you can kind of see anybody who's won, like Killaroo had an honorable mention the first year. I also promote Darren's stuff. Terra Olympus won. I also promote Terra Olympus when the projects comes out too. Transhuman 2 won, so I promoted 3. So I'm making a point that any promotion that happens on this page, it's fine as long as that project had previously won an ACCA. So once you get in, it's like a secret club. Once you're in, we'll promote. You get my promotion basically, whatever that's worth to you. Whatever that's worth to you, you get me promoting your stuff as well. So you can kind of see. This was Pussy Willow again. Happy to promote it. So this was the winners from the year before. So these were the big winners from the year before.
Yeah, this is great, man. It's really good that you've decided to do this. It's it's something that I'm surprised hasn't been around for that long.
Yes, it's been around for about 4 years. So next year's going to be the 5th year. So it's actually really surprising how long. You look back on stuff. You close your eyes and something. Oh gosh, that's 5 years ago, and that's how this absolutely feels to me, because it feels like I just had that chat with Kickstarter, and it really just feels like they just said, "Hey, let's make this happen." So it
Yeah, good,
really
man.
feels that way. Otherwise, look, I would always encourage. Look, Bo, if you want to do something, dude, you can let's get you a newcomer award.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day. I need to come up with my pitch first and my script, which one day we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what we look forward to.
SK, do all new kicks or newcomers are aware that there's this award that's up?
Look, I do the cheeky thing, and I do this absolutely cheeky. So, I do stalk a lot of Australian comic Kickstarters. I'm sorry if you post something publicly. I will stalk you on this one, but it's a good stalking. So before I get into stalking, so I do reach out to basically any new creators. Say, hey, God, congrats! I've seen you've never raised a project before. I send them the link and I say, hey, look, if you're interested, this is what you. And if you win, I will reach out to. If you win, Kickstarter will let me know, and I'll reach out to you in August. And I think it's so. I think, like for example, Angie Spice was one who started Kickstarter. I think first Kickstarter last year. Yeah, same thing. I just told her about it as well, and it's something I do actively promote to people who do raise create projects, because I think it's really important for them to know. Hey, look, it's again, it's a cherry on top. If you get it, fantastic. If you don't, it doesn't mean that your project's not good or anything. It just means it's something that you can aim for the following year.
Yeah. And that's a good place to end it, mate. We want to say thank you very much for coming here and chilling out with us and educating us on all this and sharing it. And it's a really good thing that you're doing. I really, really like it.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me.
No, you're very welcome. You know you're always welcome anytime, mate. Anytime you want to play anything. And we want to thank you, the audience, as well, for spending your time with Aussieverse. We really, really appreciate it. It's something that we do not overlook, and we really, really appreciate it. I'm saying it again. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. And as always, SK, what is Aussieverse?
I don't know the correct answer. I just know it's a really awesome show with two really awesome people. And look, I'll say this. I really can't thank you guys. Sharif, there's more than I only see the two of you. But you guys are super, super supportive. I don't. By the way, for people who just watch this show, you don't see all the behind the scenes stuff that these guys do. There are groups they promote. They push our projects out. They are fantastic. So Aussieverse for me is a great community of creators and fans as well to promote Australian comics. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's really kind words of you. But you're wrong. So Sharif, what is Aussieverse?
Always for life.
We'll catch you next time.